Hello and welcome to Home with Sarah Jane. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing our summer homeschool plans. If you're new here, hello and welcome. My name is Sarah and I'm a homeschooling mom to two girls, ages 12 and 15. And if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for stopping by once again. I do really appreciate you. So I currently have a 6th grader going into 7th grade and a 9th grader going into 10th grade. And what I wanted to talk about today is what we're going to be doing homeschool wise over the summer. Now, every year looks a little bit different because my kids' needs kind of change every single homeschool year. And typically how I gauge what we're going to be doing over the summer is by a couple of different things. One, how busy are we going to be? And another is what are the areas that my kids were struggling in this past homeschool year. So a lot of that has been like focusing on reading with Lydia or focusing on certain math concepts with Bella. But this year is kind of different. So we always start off the first week of our summer the first week of our summer break, we do absolutely nothing. Nothing. I mean, even chores are very limited in that first week of our summer break. And that is just because at this point, we're usually pretty much burnt out. So we just kind of like to have that break of not making plans, not doing too much, just kind of like loafing around. But that's kind of like how we reset for our like homeschool summer goals and things like that. We just take that first week off and really refresh ourselves before we jump into our summer homeschool plans. Okay, so let's talk about what my kids are going to be doing independently first, and then we'll go ahead and move into what we're going to be doing as a family for our summer homeschool goals. Now for Lydia, my soon-to-be 7th grader, her area of focus this year is going to be based off of something that she just really enjoys. Now, like I was saying earlier, I typically pick an area or a subject that my kids are struggling in so we could get a little bit more practice over the summer before the next school year starts. But I decided to maybe step away from that this year because with Lydia, her area of struggle is writing, and I just kind of feel like right now what she needs is a break. She needs a break from the stressful writing lessons and things like that, especially because I'm looking into other options when it comes to writing with her, next school year. So during the summer, I really just want her to focus on a couple of little things, and that is independent reading. I want her to read at least 3 to 4 days a week. I want her to pick up a book and just read. Now, I don't think that's going to be a problem with Lydia. She typically reads daily, even if I don't ask her. She loves to read. So I don't think that's going to be a problem, but I'm only going to ask her to read 3 or 4 days a week, that she just picks up a book, whatever she wants. I'm not even going to tell her what to read, just read in general. So that's one of the areas of focus for this summer, is just reading. And then the only other area I'm really going to have her focus on independently is her violin lessons. Now, she is still using Tra-La for online violin lessons. We really, really love her instructor. We love the lessons. We just love everything when it comes to Tra-La. So I'm going to keep on having her take lessons over the summer, but we are going to cut them back. So even though she's going to be going from 4 lessons a month to 2 lessons a month, she will still practice every single day. So when it comes to her independent stuff, it's just reading and violin. So it's not going to be a lot. Now, when it comes to Bella, she pretty much has very similar goals. Bella is just going to be required to read. And again, like Lydia, 3 to 4 times a week, and whatever she wants to read. So I'm not going to pick out any of her books. I'm not going to tell her what to read. I just want her to pick up a book and read over the summer. Again, I don't think that's going to be much of an issue for Bella either, because she loves to read as well. So reading is a focus, especially when it comes to independent reading, because sometimes it can be challenging when you're always assigning books to your kids. That's why over the summer, I really like to give them free range of what they read, because, in the next homeschool year, they're going to have required reading again. So this is a good time to just really let them read whatever they want. Now, on top of independent reading, I'm also going to have Bella continue on with her French lessons using Fluence. So again, like I was saying, areas of struggle are usually where I like to focus during the summer, but for Bella, there really wasn't a lot of areas of struggle this school year, which is a good thing. So this year we decided to just have her continue on with her French lessons. Now I'm only going to have her do this a couple of times a week over the summer. It's not going to be a ton. It's pretty much just so she doesn't lose anything that she's been learning over the past, school year. So she is going to be using this a few times a week just to keep up on things until we go into the next school year, where she will pick up full-on lessons again that she has to do multiple times a week. So again, for Bella, it's going to be reading and French. Now, as a family, we are going to continue on with watching World Watch News every single day. We love World Watch. It's only 10 minutes Monday through Friday, and it is Christian journalism, but I feel like they present this world news in a very clear way. It doesn't seem biased or anything like that. So we do really enjoy World Watch. So we are going to continue with World Watch over the summer. And then I will also be reintroducing family read-alouds. Now, typically we always do family read-alouds, whether we're in school or it's summer break or whatever. But if you watched a previous video, we were having a hard time fitting in family read-alouds. So I kind of just stopped them a couple of weeks ago, and we haven't had a family read-aloud in a little while now. But I do want to reincorporate family read-alouds back during the summer. But instead of focusing on reading, 5,000 books, over the summer, I really just want our goal to be to read. I don't really want to put a number on the amount of books. If we only read one book over the summer, I'm okay with that, as long as we're taking a little bit of time, a couple of times a week, and just reading as a family. So I really don't want to put a lot of restrictions. I don't even want to map out what we're going to try and read. I just kind of want to leave it open and kind of loose so that, whatever we feel like picking up, we pick up. So that's kind of how I'm going to be doing family read aloud. Hopefully it's easy to bring that back into our day. Sometimes it can be a little challenging when you stop doing something in your homeschool to reincorporate it. So I'm really hoping for the best with that. But another thing that we're going to be doing as a family is, I realized with my kids getting older, especially with Bella being 15 and she's in high school and all of that, I really want to focus on safety and first aid. So what I ended up doing is I ended up going to the American Red Cross website, and I found that they have a whole bunch of different online classes that my kids can take. So that is what we're going to be doing as a family this year. Now, there are so many different options. What I'm going to focus on is the first aid course with my girls. So I think that that's where our focus is going to be. I do not know how long it is, but I do know that it is an online self-paced course that really isn't that expensive. So I think that this would be a wonderful addition to Bella's resume, because she does sometimes volunteer, and she's been working, and she works with children sometimes. So I think that this would be a fantastic skill for her. But they also have cat and dog first aid, which my youngest is really, really interested in. So if we have time over the summer, I want to do the cat and dog first aid. When I was reading about it, I think it said it's only like a 35-minute self-paced course. So that seems very realistic, to take this cat and dog first aid course through the American Red Cross. But they also had like a babysitting class that you could take. They even have a class about, what to do until help arrives. So I think there's a lot of fantastic online courses that we're going to be focusing on. Again, I don't know how many we are going to do, but we are going to start with the basic first aid online course. And depending on the content of it, I know my older daughter will do it for sure. But if it's going to be too much for Lydia, I will just have her do the cat and dog first aid. So we will see. We'll kind of, see how that goes. I've never done any of these classes before, so I can't really give an opinion or any kind of suggestions. I'm just pretty much going with things I think will be very useful for Bella and Lydia in the future. Just great information and knowledge to have. And, accidents sometimes happen. So having this basic knowledge of, first aid and things is really important to me. And I want my girls to be able to be safe if they have to use these skills. So that's why we're kind of focusing on these. But I also wanted to mention that there is a whole bunch of free resources for younger kids through the American Red Cross as well online. So if your kids are not as old as mine and you have maybe like a kindergartner or you have, third grade, something like that, that, there are resources on the website that are free that you can use. So they have a program that is called Prepare with Pedro, and it's geared towards kindergarten through second grade. Now, it is kind of set up for a little bit more of a classroom setting, but you can still use these free resources with your young kids. So they have things like access to storybooks that talk about, these types of emergency situations. They have activities. There's a teacher's guide. There's videos that you could have your kids watch, and they cover a wide range of emergency situations. So they have things like house fires, shelters, wash your hands, disasters, earthquakes, extreme heat, flooding, hurricanes, power outages, tornadoes, tsunamis, wildfire. So again, there's a lot of free resources covering a whole bunch of different topics for your kindergartner through second grade. Now, if your kids are a little bit older than that, they also have a program called the Pillowcase Project, and that is for kids around the ages or grades 3 through 5. So the Pillowcase Project is geared again for grades 3 through 5, and it is a preparedness education program for your kids. Again, it is a little bit more geared towards like a classroom setting, but you could still use a lot of these free resources in your homeschool. Even if you don't want to do it over the summer, this would be great to introduce or incorporate during your homeschool day in the next homeschool year, So they have videos for the Pillowcase Project. There's coloring sheets. There's a preparedness workbook, posters, emergency contact card. There's activities like tracking a hurricane, mapping electricity. There's online hazard activities that you can do with your kids as well. So really check out the American Red Cross if this is something that you're interested in, because they do have a lot of free resources on there. And when it comes to being a homeschooling parent, you probably already know there is no one size fits all curriculum. We tend to, change things up no matter what curriculum we use. So this being geared towards a classroom setting, really, you could change it. You could still use it. You could still, make it fit for your homeschool and for your kids. Even if you don't homeschool, this is great information for your kids. So another thing that I like to do is I like to gather up all of our subscription boxes that are left over, experiments, arts and crafts, anything like that. Any kind of leftovers from the school year when it comes to crafts or activities. I like to gather those up and put them in one area that is easily accessible to my kids. I do this for a couple of different reasons. One, I do not want to waste these items that I already paid for. And another, it makes it more convenient and more likely that we will use these items if they're in a convenient location for my kids. Sometimes it gets too hot where we live to go outside and play over the summertime. So having these leftover arts and crafts and activities and experiments in a convenient location where everybody knows where they are is just a lifesaver sometimes. Or sometimes if I'm working and my kids want to do something without having to get me involved, they can go to this, it's in a homeschool cabinet this year. They can go to this cabinet and they could pull out any kind of crafts or activities, and these are all things that they can do on their own. So I do like to gather up all of those kind of, I guess we could call them loose ends, loose activities from the homeschool year, and just put them in one location. So I have shared something like this on my channel before. It was, I think I called it like the summer homeschool cart or something like that. I will link that video down below just in case you're interested. But this year, instead of using a rolling cart, we are actually going to be using the cabinet that is in my dining room, because everybody knows that cabinet kind of holds all of our homeschool supplies anyway throughout the year. So I thought that this would be the perfect location to put those leftover arts, crafts, experiments, things like that for my kids to get to on their own over the summer. But that's pretty much what our goals are for the summer, is just reading, World Watch News. Lydia's going to be focusing on her violin lessons. Bella's going to be focusing on French. And as a family, we'll be doing read alouds. Did I say World Watch News? I'm pretty sure I did. And then we are going to be focusing. I can't even. I said focusing on first aid and kind of like these life skills and like emergency preparedness type of things. There was even stuff on the Red Cross about building up like an emergency kit and things like that. So they have like all of this information on there. And again, my kids are going to focus on the online classes. I just think it's a lot of great information. Bella was really interested, like I was saying, in the first aid and the babysitting, where Lydia was really, really focused on on the cat and dog first aid. So that is what our goals are for this summer. If you have any questions, please leave them down below and let me know. Have you ever used any of the American Red Cross classes before, courses or anything like that? I would love to hear your feedback on that because again, I have never used them before. I'm really excited to basically learn alongside my kids again when it comes to first aid. But that is it for today. As always, thank you so much for stopping by. You have a great day. Bye.